from Little DaVinci. So make sure you comment and let us know that you're here. We want to hear from you. Before we get started, just a little bit more about Mom's Meat. So Mom's Meat is an online community of caretakers who are looking to raise healthy families, by connecting with better for you brands. So you can join momsmeat.com as a mom ambassador, and you can connect with brands that way. So this event is brought to you by Little DaVinci. We're really excited to talk about them today. They're makers of the multivitamin Mighty Vite. So that's this little guy here. And we have a special guest today. As I mentioned, Dr. Hand is with us, and he is the section chief for pediatric nephrology. So for those of you like me that didn't even know how to pronounce that word, that's another word for kidney disease. And he practices at the Children's Hospital at Dartmouth, and he's also a clinical assistant professor. And he is also a pediatric integrative medicine specialist. So he focuses on health and wellness and integrative techniques for children and young adults with chronic conditions. So he's done consults all over the world. And a little fun fact, he has been on Oprah. He's been on 2020, Discovery Channel. We were just chatting about that a little bit. So he definitely has a lot of experience and insight to offer for us today. And during this event, please feel free to post questions. So Little DaVinci will be available, and we'll also see your comments as well. So I know all of you are eager to hear about the prizes that we have today. So Little DaVinci has graciously given us 5 prize packs. So 5 lucky winners will win a prize pack. So it will include the Mighty Vite here. Oh, there you go. There you can see it. And then it will also include the Immune Z, which is great for your children. And then the Sync Up, which is this berry flavor here. So it will include that, and it's valued at over $62. So it's definitely a great win for you. So again, make sure you comment on, like, share the video for your chance to win. We'll announce the winners tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. So we're going to jump into questions shortly, but before I do, I just want to go and I want to talk about who Little DaVinci is, a little bit more about them. So the Mighty Vite it's a children's multivitamin, and it's unlike any other multivitamin out there. It addresses the immune system, and it contains both prebiotics, probiotics, curcumin, and elderberry, and also so much more valuable ingredients. And Dr. Hand, actually, you collaborated on the formulation of Little DaVinci Mighty Vite, so we're really excited to chat with you. I know there's really great emphasis on the taste and the unique powder delivery system. So we'll definitely chat about that in a moment. One of the things that I love about it is that it's a sugar-free alternative to the gummy vitamins. So as a parent myself, my kids love the gummy vitamins, but I never quite know how much sugar is really in them. So it's great to know that there is that alternative that is sugar-free and still delivering, the quality ingredients.
Right.
And DaVinci Laboratories has been a doctor-trusted leader in the dietary supplements for over 45 years. So we know that we can trust them and that they're, the leader in the supplement world. And then Little DaVinci Mighty Vite, they contain high quality, evidence-based raw ingredients and nothing else. So I know as a parent, again, sometimes we're giving our kids things and we're not quite sure if they are including other hidden ingredients. So it's great to have that transparency and know what we're actually giving our children.
Yeah.
So without further ado, we're going to jump into some questions that we have for you. We're so excited to ask for your expertise. So Dr. Hand, what was the inspiration for creating this line?
Oh, geez. Well, years ago, I got involved in this concept of integrative medicine. And back in 2006, I went out and did the fellowship at Andrew Weil's program out at the University of Arizona. At the time, there were only a handful of us that were pediatricians, maybe 10 in the country or so, maybe somewhere in that range, and only maybe 2 or 3 of us that were actually pediatric specialists at the time who were getting trained in integrative care. And integrative care is this concept of looking at all different healing modalities. So taking Western medicine and combining it with nutrition and exercise, supplements, botanicals, acupuncture, all of those pieces. One of the frustrating things that was happening were patients were coming in to see me and they'd say, here, this is what I'm giving my child. And half the stuff either didn't have in it what I wanted to be in it, had very little levels of things that were in it. Very often were extremely expensive, paying hundreds of dollars per bottle, or were filled with lots of fillers and sugars and things that I didn't necessarily want to have in it. And after my nurses came to me and said, you need to do something about this. And so I decided I have sort of lofty goals in the world. One is to change healthcare as we know it. And second is to try and change the supplement world for pediatrics. And that's actually what led to me contacting DaVinci, and we came up with Little DaVinci. They've been great. They're awesome. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, that's great. It's nice to know when you you have a plan in place and you're actually able to implement it and see it come to fruition. Right. Definitely rewarding. Sure. And I know so many parents are grateful too to be able to have a product to be able to deliver to their children. So can you share what sets Multivite apart from other children's multivitamins?
Yeah, well, full disclosure, when I first started in integrative care, I didn't really care about a multivitamin. Okay, I used to say, well, eat your food and you'll be fine, and try to get all your nutrition and all your things through your food, which I still believe is the primary way for us to be able to get most of our, all of our good nutrition, fruits, vegetables, that type of thing. I always say when the universe put a chicken on the ground and said, eat the chicken, did they think it was going to look like a McNugget? All right. So, but what's been happening is in the standard American diet, we're noticing that children are not getting what they need. They just are not getting in what is necessary. Even patients that are eating good foods on a regular basis, we're finding that a lot of our food sources have been tapped of a lot of the good things that are out there. So we sat down and I said, okay, this is what I want. And there's certain things, particularly here in the Northeast, that we have to have in there. We have to have vitamin D. We wanted vitamin C in there. We wanted to not put sugar in there. I wanted a good amount of a B vitamin in there. And then we started saying, well, are there things that people could eat on a daily basis that would be good for them, that we see may be helpful for their overall health? Things like curcumin and putting a bit of a probiotic in there. We were not looking at like levels that were huge, but things that in our regular diet would be good for us, eating fermented foods or having, eating a lot of curry, things that we know are good for us. So we said because it's hard to get kids to take these. So could we get it to taste good? Could we get it in a powder? Could we get all these pieces in there? And so that every day kids are getting some of this.
Yeah, I think and having a delivery system too for kids is super important too. So can you talk about some of the benefits of the ready to eat powder as well?
Yeah, this is we were going to try and put it in a little stick that you could open and eat, but it became a little bit too hard to do. So we said, well, let's just use the powder, and you can toss the powder in your mouth. It's quickly dissolved. You can throw it into a drink if the kids are drinking something in the morning. You can put it right into that, which makes it really nice. And it does take away all the sugar and all the dyes and things that are there that most parents are trying to avoid.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I know one of the ingredients, we talked about is probiotics. So
Yeah.
Could you go into a little bit about what they do, but not just what they do, but how they specifically help children and if they help with the immune system, different things that they do?
Yeah, well, conceptually, probiotics became very popular when people started looking at cultures that lived long and did really well, and they found that many cultures ate lots of fermented foods. It's sort of normal to eat fermented foods. They're not big in our country. Okay, we don't eat a lot of kimchi or whatever in general, and kids don't like it very much. So what they do is the gut is the second largest immune organ in the body. And the bacteria in the gut are very important for that immune connection. And so the idea here for probiotics is to work on immune health and to help that to work better. And there's been, multiple studies looking at probiotics and, good and bad in both ways. But our goal here was not to put massive amounts of probiotics in, but rather to say, listen, if we were looking at fermented foods and we wanted to get kids more fermented foods, well, let's put some in there. And let's put the prebiotic in too, which is the other part that the bacteria like to live on to grow better.
Yeah, so that was my next question actually we know that it has probiotics, but also prebiotics. So could you explain a little bit the difference between the two? Because I know a lot of people often have questions.
Yeah, the prebiotics essentially the you want to call it substrate or the component that the bacteria wants to live on, to eat, to develop. The probiotic itself is the actual bacteria. So the idea here is to give it a good thing. You know, it likes fiber, it likes natural fruits and vegetables. That's what they like to grow on. And so using things like that to help the good bacteria to grow well is what that's for.
Okay. And this also includes elderberry, which I know recently has been a buzzword in terms of health benefits. So,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think people are starting to understand that it's good for you, but maybe not quite understanding why or how it's good for you. So if you can go
Yeah.
a little bit, and also if it's good for incorporating into our kids' diets.
Yeah, and again, this is another thing that we didn't put large amounts of it in there. We put some in there so that if somebody's taking it every day, that it could potentially be beneficial for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you buy elderberry over the counter, you know, people take it for various different reasons. That's a much higher level than what we're talking about here. The concept here is elderberry is good for the immune system. It's good for immune health, and that's what we're using the elderberry for in this. And that's the concept. Like the probiotic is, instead of saying, okay, let's just throw 50 billion colony forming units of probiotic in, let's use some every day as if you're eating some fermented foods. Let's put some elderberry in there. Mm-hmm. Now, the caveat to this is I would not tell people to go making a lot of their own elderberry. Okay, you can do that. People sometimes make their own elderberry syrups and what have you, but you have to be careful, because anything that you take in extremes is not really good for you, typically. And so our concept here was, it's good for the immune response. That's what we're shooting for. Let's put some in this so that we can help that on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, and sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Chrissy, but the fact is that we're using this to supplement the child's health. Okay, this is, there are times where we use things at higher doses, zincs or magnesiums or our broccoli or our butterbur or our fish oils. These are things that when we're taking them, sometimes we're using in a higher level for the kids for different reasons, okay? Mm-hmm. When we talk about a multivitamin, what we're saying is we know that in our current system, most of the kids are not getting what they need. Even when people try their best, they're not getting what they need. So our idea here is let's really try and maximize that with what we're doing here.
Yeah. So is it okay for parents to, if they're giving their kids this Mighty Vite and multivitamin, to also, if they're giving them other supplements as well, is it okay there?
It's a great question. We actually tried to dose this so that it wasn't hitting too much or too little. Okay. Yeah. And what I mean by that is, if you look on the vitamin D, if it's 400 units of vitamin D, that's good for a small, an infant. But if you live like I do up here in the Northeast, children are going to need 1,000 or 2,000. And so the reality to it is that there are certain things that we still want kids to take more of. So it depends on your region. We didn't want to put so much vitamin D in that if somebody lives in, Tucson, Arizona or something, that they would be getting too much. We wanted to make sure all kids were getting some from this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I know a big piece that you focus on is inflammation, right? So could you talk about why it's so important to address that specifically in kids?
Yeah, that inflammation is the hallmark of almost every condition out there. And we're even finding that with, as you know, we have epidemics of things out there with emotional issues and everything else. And inflammation is really the hallmark of almost all the conditions that we have out there. And we sort of neglected the concept in children. We're like, well, when you get older, we'll worry about it. But really, we should be starting it now, because all of the development that's going on is really, and all the things that we're seeing out there, from emotional health to brain health to GI health, all of this is linked to inflammation. So that's why, and if you look at conditions, and I can't get into specifics on these today, but the things that we used to just see in adults, we're now seeing in children. We never used to see the things in children that we're seeing that we do now, and things that we are seeing in percentages that now equal the same as adults. And much of this is based on this concept of inflammation.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
So I think some moms or some parents might be asking, well, why can't I just get like what's so different between getting this or versus a regular vitamin at the store?
Yeah.
So if you can explain a little bit about that.
It's a great question, and you know, there's a lot of good vitamins out there. Okay, I mean, if you had asked me this 10 years ago or 5 years ago, I would have said, yeah, get whatever one, it's okay, and go from there. I think that there's a couple issues. One is there have been cases where the vitamins have not had in them what they've said. Okay, they just have not had in them what they've said. Second is that they can also be loaded with things to make them taste good, and sometimes those are the preponderance of those. So, for example, the gummy fish oils that are out there have almost no fish oil in them. They have just a tiny bit of fish oil, and some of the and even some of the multivitamins that say they have fish oil in them, people think they're getting a lot of fish oil, and it's just a tiny amount of fish oil in them. So sometimes there's a little bit there. Many of them are actually very good, and they have stuff, but very few, if any of them, are going to have any curcumin, elderberry, the prebiotic or the probiotic. And also, we're really meticulous about trying to keep these as clean and as pure as we can. We have third-party certificate of analysis. We go through this to make sure what's in it's really in it, that it's not contaminated. It's one of the things we're trying to do in changing the supplement industry is actually get more transparency in all of this. So
Yeah, and I think as a parent, that's just what's important, right? I mean, there's a lot of great marketing techniques and brands will show parents they think that they want to give their kids, but at the end of the day, it's really what the ingredients are and what you're delivering to your kids is most important.
Exactly, and I think it's really. You want to know that what you're giving your child you feel good with. All right?
Yeah,
and it was one of the frustrating things because people were, everything that was labeled pediatric for years had almost nothing in it. I mean, I used to look at the bottles and go, "There's nothing in this," and it was very frustrating to me. And actually, most of the time, I was telling parents take adult vitamins for their kids because there was almost nothing in the pediatric. It was basically like a piece of candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about a little bit of, about the inflammation piece, but could you talk about some of the other long-term health benefits of for our children taking multivitamins?
Yeah. Well, I think just in general, when you look at brain health, when you look at emotional health, when you look at, GI health, all of these various components that are out there, we see that there's commonly some degree of deficiencies in children that are dealing with this. So vitamin D has probably been the most well studied in this. B vitamins have been shown true in some of the other cases also. So we really, I think long term, if you look at just your whole body and trying to keep yourself healthy, my days of saying to people, just eat good food, which I still do. Don't get me wrong. My number one thing, always, and I want all the people out there to know this, my primary focus is eating good food. Okay. You can't take a multivitamin and, eat, Pop-Tarts and Pop-Tarts. I don't mean to say Pop-Tarts, okay. Or Boston cream donuts. Those are my favorite. So you can't just eat Boston cream donuts and ramen noodles all day and then take a multivitamin and be okay. You can't. I don't want people to think that. Everything for me in what I do is focusing on food. And part of the important thing for kids to realize too, and if your moms are out there saying, well, how do I get them to eat this stuff? It's actually simple. You just say, and it sounds crazy, but all you say to them is, do you think food is important in your health? And they'll say, well, of course, Mom, what's wrong with you? Well, which of these do you think would be better for you to help you with your brain health or help you with your emotional health? Well, of course, the orange would over the Boston cream donut. And always start with the healing food. Always. That's all you ask them to do. And then things start to evolve and get better. But getting back to your question, I think that we can't ignore the food part of this. And I don't want people to think that either. So.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a rambly answer, but I think it's important to hear.
Great information, especially for our moms. And I'm just looking through some of the comments now, and they're loving all the information you're providing. And someone actually asked if there's an adult version really for like parents to take that can cover the same benefits.
Yeah. DaVinci has other things. I don't know exactly honestly, I don't know exactly what's in their adult vitamin because I haven't looked as closely at it. Because I just went to them and said, can you make this? But DaVinci carries a lot of good products. They do carry multivitamin type things too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so for parents like myself who may not be great about giving multivitamins every single day,
Yeah.
should they be taking multivitamins every single day? Is it okay if they miss a couple of days? What would your recommendation be on that?
Yeah, well, I'm terrible. I remember every day. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be the example for this. And there's a couple of rules, just so you know. One, if it is probably good to take a vitamin every day, particularly if you find that your kids are struggling to get the right kinds of foods in. Okay. The second thing is if they are fat soluble vitamins and you miss a dose, you can actually take more the next day. So, for example, if you're taking vitamin D. Let's say your child's on 1,000 units of vitamin D a day and you forget the 1,000 that day, you can take 2,000 the next day, okay? Now you got to be a little careful with multivitamins because some of them will have things in them that you don't want to get too much all at once. But you could, if you needed to take another dose the next day, and it's not that critical timing wise during the day either. So if you forget in the morning, it's okay at night. But if you have your child on vitamin D or fish oil or one of the other ones, then you can double up the next day on that. Matter of fact, my favorite product that we have one of my favorite products on the DaVinci line, and I don't want to go off on the tangent, but is the omega-3 fats.
Mm-hmm.
It's delicious, and this was my big thing, was trying to make this taste good for kids.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of omega-3s per teaspoon, and if you miss a dose, you can just take 2 doses the next day. So,
okay, and I'm sure adults would probably flock to that too because the fish oil is not.
It's the only one I keep it in my fridge. I just take a swig every day.
So last question, do you recommend, do our children need to take the Multivite with food? Or I know like with adult multivitamins, sometimes it's recommended to take with food. It can, create some nausea.
Yeah. It's interesting because very often people will say, take things without food because they'll get better absorption and what have you. It turns out most fat soluble things do better with food because it stimulates bowel secretion and increases the absorption. But the bigger issue is that almost every medicine, vitamin, whatever, they commonly upset your stomach. And so I prefer people to take them with food so you don't get that. Because the last thing you want to do is give it to your child and say, oh, I feel sick to my stomach. Then they'll never take it again.
Right. Yeah.
So I prefer people take things with food in general.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for answering. I think I threw a couple of my own personal questions in there. Just thank you so much for answering questions. Do you have any closing thoughts for our moms that are watching?
Yeah, one of the things I was going to say is when I met with Adam and Little DaVinci to put this together, we had a few goals. One was the big goal was to change supplement industry. So we're trying to work on getting certificate analysis on everything, having transparency. The second thing is to make sure we get good levels of everything in there that needed to be in there, so parents weren't wasting their money. The third thing was to make it as cost effective as we possibly could and still use quality ingredients. And the fourth thing was make it taste good, okay? And that's not easy to do if you're not adding a lot of sugars and stuff. And the team has done a great job. But I talked with Adam about this today, and one of the things that we want families to know is if there is something that the taste isn't okay, because every kid's different. We all tasted them, we had kids taste them, we did all that stuff. But if you're finding the taste isn't okay, we're not opposed to hearing about it so that we can try and rectify it. This is a work in progress for us, and we want people to know that we are really trying to develop quality products to change the supplement industry and to get it for children, because this is, not many people are doing it for children, and they have to be able to take it. If it doesn't taste good, they're not going to take it.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that our moms value so much is having brands that, actually listen to their feedback, because that's a big part of the products and the success of it. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah, this isn't about us, okay? I want people to understand this. This is a mission that we have. This is not about me. It's not about, Little DaVinci. This is about what we bring to the kids. It truly is. And so if there's something people are saying, this didn't work, then okay, I want to know about it. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you again. And we just want to let our moms know to remember to comment and share this Facebook Live. And also, we want to know what you found most helpful about the interview. We saw some great comments coming in, so thank you for that. Remember, again, to keep sharing, liking, and commenting for your chance to win. So we'll announce the winner tomorrow. Little DaVinci Multivite is available for purchase. You can go to momsmeat.link/DaVinci shop. And there's actually a promo code right now. You can use the promo code MOMBLOG and you can get 20% off your order. So definitely head there for sure. And thank you again so much, Dr. Hand, for being available. I know you're very busy, so we appreciate your time.
Okay, happy to do it.
All right. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us, and we hope you have a great day.